Hi, it's Norm, and today it's like about 92 degrees out here, so I'm not going to try and reenact this story, but rather I'm just going to try standing here in the shade. I'll tell you about this first Boy Scout camp I went to when I was about 12 years old. Well, it was a big adventure, of course. First time away from home and family for any extended time. And then maybe the second night we were there, we were out exploring in the woods, me and a couple of my friends, before the evening campfire. We came across a pile of wood that was glowing, not like burning glowing, but like glowing like it was radioactive or something like that. It was pretty cool, and so we all grabbed pieces of it to take home as a souvenir from camp, you know. So we put it in our tent, and then we headed off to the campfire that night. Well, I think there must be a tradition in the Boy Scouts where the older scouts try and scare the daylights out of the younger scouts the first few days or something, because they started telling ghost stories at this campfire. And one of the scouts told this story where the very camp we were staying at was a haunted camp, and that there was a bunch of ghosts of scouts that had disappeared in some accident 25 years before, and that were still wandering through the campgrounds at night. And sometimes you could see where they were because the area around them would glow, and if you were to see that, you were advised to stay away from it, and whatever you do, don't touch it. So me and my friends started getting a little nervous, and I'm not sure I was buying the whole ghost story business, but I started getting a little nervous about having this glowing wood around. I mean, after all, it really was glowing, and that didn't seem natural, you know. So when we got back to our tent, it was so dark out now, you could see the glowing wood all through the tent. These were big tents, you know, for like 8 or 10 guys. Well, there was a couple guys that were really freaked out by the whole thing. I mean, you know, screaming, crying kind of thing. So before they would even go in the tent, we had to clean out all this wood and drag it back into the woods and get rid of it. And then finally everyone settled down, and we got to sleep. And the next day at camp was great. It was fun. Everyone seemed to have forgotten all about the whole thing until we got back that night, and we went to our tents, and all the glowing wood was back in our tent, scattered all over just like it had been the day before, maybe even more of it. So we had to go through the whole thing all over again and get rid of the wood, and this happened every night at camp. Now, just in our tent, and I don't know, I was kind of like getting suspicious of some of my friends there that maybe they were playing tricks on us, or maybe the older scouts were playing pranks. I never found out, but there were a couple of boys that thought that the ghosts were putting it back into the tent to mark the spot so they could find us when it came time to come get us. I don't know, but I can tell you that by the end of camp, everyone was still healthy, no one had gotten hurt, and just about everyone came back the next year. But I never saw the glowing wood again, at least not as a kid. I have seen it a few times since then, and I learned somewhere that there's some form of bacteria that is bioluminescent that feeds on rotting wood, and if there's enough of it, causes the wood to glow. So I guess there is a natural explanation for the glowing wood, although I still can't explain how the wood kept reappearing in our tent every night. But that's another story. Anyway, that's my story for today's Daily Create. Any questions?